Well, now that the Denver Nuggets sealed their first ever championship, the next step is replicating it. Now, can they do just that? That is the question. Now, joining us to look into Denver's future, again, is NBA High Post Mike Reyes and the most in-demand Denver Nuggets fan in the Philippines, NBA All-Star, Philippines All-Star analyst, Chris Newsome. Chris.
One of one.
One of one.
Everybody wants a piece of you now.
One of one.
Hey, everybody wants a piece.
It's been a long time coming. I've celebrated a lot of everybody else's championship. I've talked about it, analyzed it all.
Come on, guess me.
It is my turn. Thank you. It was a great finals, but hey, I'm just happy we got our first championship.
No, I mean, everyone's happy for you. We were at a viewing party, actually.
Right,
I was with Chris, and
Right.
everyone was congratulating Chris Newsome as if he were a Denver Nuggets player. First of all, a lot of people will be wondering, why? Why Denver for you?
Why, right?
Yeah, let's give us your
Interesting.
origin story on that one.
I got you, right? So growing up, I always loved watching basketball. And where I'm from in New Mexico, there's not a major sports team. So
Yep.
you have to go to the nearest major city. And for me, that would either be Phoenix, Denver, or San Antonio, or Houston, and now OKC. But growing up, I had some family that lived in Denver. I would frequently go up to watch them. And or to visit them, and they brought me to my first Nuggets game, and it was against the Phoenix Suns. That was the time of Amari and Steve Nash, but you know, I got to see Carmelo, I got to see Marcus Camby, Kmart, J.R. Smith. You know, these are all
Great
guys
team.
that
Yeah,
really,
great team.
you know, they kind of took me in as a basketball player to see the type of energy that they had, right? And so from there, I was like, okay, I like the Nuggets. Seeing the Pepsi Center at the time.
Right.
You know, and so that's how big of a fan I am. I love arenas, right? And then, you know, years later, I graduate high school and I go into playing college basketball. And one of the schools we play is Metro, who play literally right across the street from the Pepsi Center. And so I always see the Pepsi Center. I always dream about being in the Pepsi Center. And one of my favorite players of all time moved to the Denver Nuggets, which was Allen Iverson.
Oh, that's right.
So, you know, I was a big AI fan. Once he moved to the Nuggets, solidified it all.
Yeah,
So
it's all there.
So it was
all there.
Melo, Iverson.
And
That was perfect.
obviously, this is such a big deal, the championship and all that, because it is really a football town
It is.
more than it is a basketball town. So congratulations for that. I just want to segue real quick, Paulo, if you will allow me.
Sure.
Because Mikey is a big Jimmy Buckets guy.
Yeah, no, I was going to bring that up, yeah.
So, I know the concentration of this conversation will be on Denver, but you can air it out here. What are your thoughts on him hobbling throughout the finals?
Michael Jordan is not the dad.
The rumor is untrue. The rumor is
But it
untrue.
hurt. I just felt like they were just unmatched. They
Yeah.
were just dominated on both ends. And you could see that kulang lang talaga. That was just the main. Every time you would watch a Nuggets Heat game, that's all you could say. Talagang kulang, talagang masyadong malakas. Hopefully, the Heat retool. I mean, it was a good story. It was a good run because all the undrafted
great
players.
run.
It was a
Great
great run.
run.
8-seed
But when you get to, you know, playing the number one team in the league with those many superstars, it was tough. It was tough. And I can't blame Jimmy, but he's definitely not the son.
no, not the Sun for sure.
Put that rumor to bed.
Yeah,
All right.
100%.
Okay, now, thanks for airing it out.
Nalabas ko naman.
And of course, Chris, you know, you are the Nuggets historian in the country, right? So you, well, by de facto.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, so you win a championship, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the greatest team that the franchise has ever come up with. In your opinion, though, is this the greatest Denver Nuggets side out there? You mentioned a really great one a while ago with Melo. Yeah, 08 was really great.
You know, it's hard to say because, of course, the championship kind of solidifies them as, you know, the greatest Nuggets team in history by the book.
Yeah.
But when you look at rosters, I think the main difference is Jokic.
Yeah.
You know, the previous teams didn't have Jokic. They had great and talented players. They had Carmelo Anthony, who's, you know, one of the greatest scorers in the NBA. And they had even really good pieces around them. But you got to remember, their matchup was Shaq and Kobe. And so when you're running into that type of power, it's going to be really hard. And you can tell that the Lakers were essentially the dominant team, the team to beat. And so to build a team that is equipped to beat them is really, really hard. So I think this is a mix of having the right pieces around your all-star and good timing as well, because matchups.
You know, Pat Riley always talks about the disease of more, right?
Yeah.
And now that's what they're looking at. Mikey, this is a great core. Talk about how they played in the finals and talk about how you are looking at them in the future, complementing that two-player combination of Murray and Jokic.
Well, I feel like there are two types of champions. The champions that win it, but you don't really see them like winning a lot of them. Mga nakalusot lang.
One-time deal,
One-time
parang
deal.
ganon? Okay.
But with this, with a generational talent like Jokic, like you gotta figure him out during the summer. There are teams that win the chip, but you can stay the same team and compete again next year. But now I'm sure teams are like, how are we gonna match up against Jokic? How are we gonna defend that two-man game? How are we gonna defend that two-man game along with all those shooters and all those scorers around them? So, sometimes you see championship teams that can actually create a dynasty, and I'm sure that's what they're going for.
But what do you feel do they fall under? The
Oh, they
one that
can.
They can.
They definitely
You're
can.
there.
With Jokic, I mean, too much. Too much.
That's true. But Chris, you take a look at. Let's take a look at a recent champion here, like the Milwaukee Bucks. When Giannis got injured, especially in that first round against the Miami Heat, everything kind of fell apart. Do the Nuggets have a bit of safety here around Nikola Jokic to still be a championship contender if he's not 100%, in your opinion?
At not 100%, it's definitely going to be tough because I think that's their biggest advantage, that he is able to be so efficient near the basket and finish at such a efficient rate that it's really hard to do. So you really have to double team him, make him get rid of the ball. If he's not operating at 100%, I think that might change his game a little bit. He might be a little more tempted to take those outside shots and settle a little more. But the Nuggets, not 100%. Even whenever it is Jokic and it's Jamal Murray that's not 100%, they still struggle. So I think they need all the pieces. Yeah, their team chemistry was really, really on point this year. And I think them being healthy for once was the big factor in this. And, I think they can definitely run it back. Maybe next year, maybe the year after that. They're already starting to make moves. They had a trade in the middle of the finals, which is really rare. So that shows that they're kind of forward thinking.
And maybe also Michael Malone putting it out there during the awarding ceremony also is, subtly telling the owner, this is what I want. You got to give me my weapons. And speaking of Mikey, and chime in, please, Chris, the job of Michael Malone here, not just in the finals, but throughout the whole year. To win a championship, health is a big thing.
Yes, definitely.
Luck, there has to be some sort of luck there too, but the coaching was solid for it.
Oh, for sure. He showed us that he can compete in the finals. And I also want to commend the management because there are only a few coaches that stay for longer, 7 years now?
Stay patient.
Exactly, Eric Spoelstra, him, Greg Popovich. So I feel like it was really a team championship, including the management, including the fans who were there supporting no matter what. So, Michael Malone really showed that he can, because Eric Spoelstra was getting all the attention of how he led those undrafted players to the exactly. I think Michael Malone really showed out.
Can I quickly ask Chris, just of this trend of all of these coaches getting championships and getting fired, do you think Michael Malone is going to be an exception, or you just don't know still?
I do not think he's going to get fired.
It's a valid question.
It is a valid question.
The past few years.
The history has shown, right?
Bud,
it's been pretty
Frank
wild.
Vogel.
Frank, Doc Rivers.
Oh my goodness.
I would like to
Coach Leo Austria.
see him. I would love to see Coach Mike Malone stay. That would be amazing. I think the whole organization believes in him.
Yeah.
And it shows for him being there for so long that they truly believe in what he's doing and the type of culture that he's building. So I would love for him to stay and break that curse.
I like how we consider him as at risk at the moment.
Right?
But it's weird. It's really weird. But Mikey, it's still on Coach Michael Malone. Is he now in the same breath as an Eric Spoelstra? Maybe even a Greg Popovich. I know they're serial winners. But then with what he's done with this Nuggets team in the way that he did it, are we now going to elevate him into that pantheon of great coaches?
I think not yet at a Greg Popovich level, but definitely joining maybe Doc Rivers with one.
Yeah.
Those championship teams with one. But it's not a knock on him, but
there's still a long way to go.
A long way to go.
All right, Chris. NBA, you cannot stand pat. You cannot stay. Even Golden State.
They got KD.
They always make changes or adapt or tweak. What do you think even as you saw them win the championship, what do you think do they still need to add, knowing that the West is always competitive?
I would think a nice backup for Jokic would be nice. Because if he gets in foul trouble, which he did
Not
a
like
few
DeAndre
times,
Jordan.
yeah,
right.
it's hard to replace somebody like that. So I think having a big that can kind of do a little bit of what he does, and you don't have so much of a drop off when he's out the game, I think that would complement the Nuggets really.
Who could that be?
Who
If
can
there's
that be?
anybody like that, they're probably going to another team.
Who is that, right? Who could that be?
Same.
And that's the amazing part about the Nuggets is
It
because
is.
they get talent that nobody else is really looking for. These are all homegrown people, right? Except for Aaron Gordon, who got
Right,
traded.
right.
But other than that, everybody was drafted, and they've even given up solid draft picks. We had Spider Mitchell
Yeah,
actually
Donovan.
at one point.
Yeah,
and
Donovan and Rudy Gobert.
And Gobert,
I
right?
just want to
Right.
say this before I leave.
Congratulations.
We're hoping the trend continues. First time championships, franchise history.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Meralco would look good.
That would be really nice. Looking forward to it.
You both have to come back for a different episode.
So different conversation for
Mikey,
sure.
thank you very much, and we will see you around. That's for sure.